Do not trade high impact news. This is usually something that a lot of traders they say. And actually, if someone ever reach out to us from the support side and they ask us, should you be trading high impact news? Definitely we're going to tell them it's not very safe. But there is a specific way when you're able to do it. It's a little bit more advanced, but stay here with me and I'm going to talk to you about this. Hi, my name is Mariana and today I want to show you how I took this trade based on the dollar interest rate news that we had about a couple of weeks ago. This was also a trade that I was watching with a student from the elite community and I was able to get around 46 pips with a total of 1.9 hours risk to reward. But how I was able to do it, how I was able to trade this one safely, knowing that trading during high impact news is risky. During high impact news, we have a lot of volatility. The spreads, they go very high and it's not that easy to identify which direction the trade is going to take. Is it going to be a buy? Is it going to be a sell? Is it going to be actually a spike to the buy side and then price is going to perform in the other direction? Or is it actually going to be a spike to the sell side, but the whole thing is going to reverse to the buy side? The fact is, trading high impact news, it's a more advanced approach, but it's still possible to be done. And today, that's exactly what I want to talk to you about it. I want to talk to you about this trade that I was able to take with the students, and you're going to see by the end of this video that you're also going to be able to trade those kind of news. So stay tuned. So this is the trade here that I took on euro dollar, watching specifically the 1 hour time frame. That was not actually the time frame that I was observing exactly at that moment. I had a why behind this trade that was coming from a higher time frame. And this is the first tip that I actually want to give you whenever you're looking for trading high impact news. As I said before, high impact news, they generate a lot of volatility in the market. Exactly during news release, the spreads, they go very high. And this can make the trading exactly in that moment a little bit risky. And one of the things that can help a lot to trade high impact news, it's looking for higher time frame stories. So this is my first tip that I'm giving to you. Whenever you look in the news calendar, let's say you're opening here, Market Countdown, that's one of the apps that we use to track news on a daily basis. If you open here your news app and you're able to identify that on this day you have a lot of high impact news available, then the first suggestion would be look if you can take a trade from a higher time frame. Of course, we need to have a reason to take that trade, but the first tip would give, see if you can find something from a higher time frame. The big investors, they usually wait for those kind of news, those high impact news, to take trades from one place to another, from one price to another, especially if they want to travel a long distance. Because during this time, with the amount of volatility that we have in the market, that's when they are able to travel that big of a distance. So first suggestion would be make sure to check the higher time frame and if you can find something to trade there. So for example, when I was watching here euro dollar, I was able to take a trade around those prices and I took my profit around those prices there. But the trade that I was observing was actually not based on the 1 hour. It was based on a higher time frame. So let me cover that part. So we're going to start our analysis today here by watching euro dollar from the daily. And what do I want to find there from the daily to tell me, there might be something here cooking. There might be something here that the big investors, they are also looking to get. They are interested. First, more than ever, I need to identify a demand. Is it going to be a sell or is it going to be a buy? If I open my charts, let's say here for euro dollar. On this day, when I open here the news calendar and I was doing the analysis together with the elite student. As you know, I am the host of the New York session in the elite community. So I'm responsible to looking for opportunities on a daily basis for the New York session. And when I was doing this analysis together with the students, I was able to identify that we have some activity here, for example, for euro dollar to the sell side. And this is coming actually from the daily. Interesting. We have high impact news. And if you check the news calendar and if you check exactly on this day here, which was the March 18th, you're going to see that it was not only dollar interest rate news. We also had Euro CPI news in the London session, we had CAD interest rate news at the beginning of the New York session. And then later on, also inside of the New York session, we had the dollar interest rate news. So when I opened the charts and I was analyzing here together with the students, I was able to identify that we have a great demand here from euro dollar to the sell side, looking the daily. And we have high impact news coming today. That's interesting. So first, by identifying that I have some sellers here that they are interested in those prices and they took price so strong to the sell side until here, I'm able to identify that we have some demand. We have demand here coming from the sell side. Am I able to trade this demand? Well, let's see. We need to continue the analysis. So what I can identify from here, this is my guy who started the move. So usually that's something that Naveen explains quite well in the Mastering Perception 2.0. The guy who started the move is basically the one that was responsible to cause this move here, in this case, to the sell side. This is my guy who started, and when he was able to make a lower low until here, I can also identify that I have this range here where price was holding here for some time, and after that I can see that they were able to go below this range, and the way that they were able to break this range also tells me that the size of the range, it's almost the same size of the break. When I have a range, let's say a range like this, for example, or we can call it this whole thing here like a range. If I see that I have a range like this and I have a breach of this range that it's looking that strong, we usually say that the demand, it's so strong that they were able to travel this far. And this is usually the beginning of a trend. That's when I know I should look for a pullback to take a trade. A different way of looking at it is if I have a range like this and I have a breach that comes this far. When I compare the size of the breach with the size of the range, I can see actually that the breach is a little bit smaller. So in this case, I don't expect that I'm going to have a trending market. I am expecting that we're going to have actually a channel market. So from here, with the size of the breach and the size of the range, I can identify that most likely I'm going to have a trending market. Actually, this trend has been going on for quite some time. We have a move here. Price was ranging around there. Then there was another move here. Sellers still looking pretty strong. Then another range there. And once again, price looking pretty strong. So I was expecting that, well, I can identify we have a demand to the sell side observing euro dollar from the daily. We have news, high impact news coming today. When I did the analysis, we were around those prices there. So let's think about it. There was a range. There was a breach, expectation to get a trend. This is an amazing level where I'm also expecting that we're going to get a reaction here from this level. You see how this is getting more and more interesting? Another point here that it's also very important to analyze. What are the EMAs saying? What are the EMAs here saying? They're all pointing to the downside. So they're going together with a downtrend that I can identify here from the daily. If that's the case, this is looking better and better. This is looking a even more safer trade for me to take. But wait, we're not going to stop there. So this is going to be my second tip. Whenever you're looking for, I have high impact news coming today. I know that I should be trading a higher time frame trade because I know that it requires a lot of volatility. And if I'm trading lower time frame trades, it can be a little bit risky. So if I want to trade exactly around this time when news come out, then it's better to find a story from a higher time frame. And once I'm able to find a story from a higher time frame, look for that specific why. What are the reasons why the big investors, they are also looking to trade on that day, specifically with those news? So all of this that we're doing right now, by identifying that I have a range, I have a breach, the breach looks bigger than the range itself. I think we're gonna have a trend coming. I have a level here. We are very close to this level. I have all the EMAs here also pointing down. All of this is part of the why behind the trade. It's part of the reason why you're looking to trade it. You cannot just say that I have high impact news coming here and this look like a good reason for me actually to do a buy, because I am at the bottom here of a range, and considering that there's a good location for me to do a buy and I have a good reaction there from the buy side, I should be looking again to do a buy. That's not really a reason for you you to do it. You're simply trading based on location. And trading based on location, it's a little bit risky. You don't know how further this one is going to be able to go. Is there a reason why someone would be interested again in those prices to buy? And that's what we're analyzing here. We have a trend. The momentum from the trend is looking pretty strong. We are around a good SNR level. And the moment when the news came out, we are very close to this SNR level. So all of this is included in your why behind the trade. So first tip is make sure that you find a story from a higher time frame. Second tip is make sure that you have a why behind that trade from the higher time frame. Now we might have some of our students asking, but wait, Mariana, we learned in an MPA 2.0 that we are able to trade high impact news, but we need to wait first for a breach to happen. And that's correct. If you don't want to trade exactly the move that it's going to come during the news, which means this move here that it's coming during the news, you can always wait for first show me, the big investors, show me the direction you want to take first. So wait first for the news to come out to show the direction. Once you have that information, then we can look for a trade on the lower time frame. But usually if you want to trade already during the move from the higher time frame, then it's highly recommended first to have higher time frame, to be observing a higher time frame, and second to make sure that you have a good reason to be taking that trade based on a higher time frame. Otherwise, it's always safer to wait for the direction the news is going to take, than to look for a trade possibly here on a lower time frame. So now that we're able to identify a story here based on the daily, I have my why behind, I have a very strong demand, I have a trend, I have a level. Now let's investigate a little bit further how we are going to be able to take that one here from the sell side. As I have my demand here coming from the daily, we at Urban Forex, we learned that we should be trading. We like to observe the demand from a higher time frame and the pullback from the lower time frame. So that's what we're going to do now. We are going to go one time frame lower, which means 2 to 4 hours, and we are going to observe how is that pullback coming. Now looking specifically at the 4 hours, I can identify this is the area where we got the breach. This is the guy who started the move and he was able to travel this far. Okay, I can see the sellers are also looking pretty strong even if I check here the 4 hours. Let me wait now for my deal to come, for my discount to come, for a better price to come for me to be able to sell it. I can see the pullback here coming. The pullback it's kind of starting, but it's not really there. Considering that the price was able to go from here until here, observing there the daily, I don't want to trade from those prices. These look too low. I would rather get something between those areas here for me to be able to trade, because this is a much better deal compared to trading from those areas. Okay, so here I can see that we have some buyers approaching, and how strong are those buyers looking? They started quite strong. They slowed down a little bit in the end. We are now here, which is actually quite an interesting area for sellers to get interested again. And it does look like the sellers got a little bit interested. But when they got interested and they tried to sell, what happened to them? They got very strongly rejected. And the buyers took it a little bit further. So the buyers did this move until here. From here, we can see sellers showing some interest, but buyers showed immediately interest here, a stronger interest that the sellers, they were not able to hold price like this. So the sellers here, they're not looking that strong. Usually I would be watching for, let me see if the sellers are going to get the prices back from those areas here, but this information was not confirmed. We actually have the buyers here still looking a bit aggressive, especially considering this week that we have here from those areas, I mean. Okay, so I can see that the buyers came, they got a pullback. This guy here who made this move to the upside, he got a pullback, and from here he was able to make another higher high. Can you see the difference from the demand here and the demand right here? Can you see how the buyers are looking strong here? How the buyers compare to how the buyers are looking strong there? Look at those small small candles that are forming coming closer to those prices here. It looks like this price was not enough for the sellers to continue selling, and the buyers came to offer a better price for the sellers to show interest again. Interesting. So it's not really this price. It could be that is this price. But wait, we need to observe a little bit more. The fact that we have buyers there coming and buyers slowing down does not mean that the sellers are going to take it down. Buyers coming, buyers slowing down does not automatically mean sellers are going to show interest. I still need to see the sellers showing interest from that price. I cannot automatically say that because we are at a level, because we have buyers coming and buyers looking like they're slowing down, I cannot say for sure with confidence that the sellers are going to take it from there. I don't have this information yet. I need to wait for this information to come. Okay, so I got the buyers are coming, buyers slowing down, and look at this aggression here from the sell side. A little bit of volume increasing there, not enough, but some volume increasing there. This rejection that we had here from the sell side, compared to how strong the buyers are looking, comparing the strength from the buyers here to the left with the strength from the sellers here to the left, it's very clear to me that the sellers now are looking much stronger. We are at a level, we have the buyers there coming and slowing down. We have a very strong rejection here from the sellers. After the buyers came and they start to slow down, this is getting really interesting. We can clearly see that they didn't like those prices. Okay, that's fine. But they definitely like this price. I can see when the sellers came here, they didn't require so much better prices for them to continue selling. No. When the sellers came here, look at the reaction from the buyers and they continue to show interest in those prices. Look at the reaction from the buyers and they continue to show interest in those prices. Sellers here, they're looking quite desperate for those prices. Now, our job here is to identify when opposite parties start slowing down and sellers show interest again. Wait, we're still not there. We're almost there, but we're still not there. Now that I have my buyers coming, opposite party coming, slowing down, and I have my sellers there showing interest, and we are around a good level, this is the moment when I allow myself with confidence to go one time frame lower to look for more details there. So this is part of the top-down analysis that I talked to you guys about on another video. So if you want to take a look at that video, just let me know. Top-down analysis is a topic that we have also discussed in another video. And if you want to find this video, if you want to watch it, just let it know from the comment section and we're going to send you the link from that video. So now that I'm able to identify that the daily has a strong demand, 4 hours has a pullback, opposite party coming, slowing down, my party showing interest from a good level, you see everything that we need in order to be able to go a third time frame to do this top-down analysis. Everything is required to do that. I cannot just simply go to one time frame lower to look for the details there just because I'm curious. No, I need to have a reason. And I can only say I have a reason if I can identify all of those points here. So now let's go to one time frame lower to observe here more the details of what is happening. Let me just tell you exactly the time of day when all of this here happened. So this information here came around Euro CPI news, around London when we had those news there coming. Just for you to have an idea regarding time of day when all of this here happened. This move that we had here coming here from the sell side, this was around the news that we had, Euro CPI news that we had in the London session. And exactly around this time, we were around this level with the buyers there coming, the buyers slowing down and sellers showing interest there, exactly around news. You see how everything is fitting? 1 + 1 + here, everything fits with each other. And you can identify, it's very clear. When you look at all of those steps, you can see you have a why behind this trade. That's when you can say, I have my why behind my trade because I have checked all of those details and now I know that I have a reason to be selling this pair. So now let's go to the 1 hour and let's check from the 1 hour, what do we have? What do we have from the 1 hour? Because from the 4 hours, we saw something From the 1 hour, we're going to see with the same thing, but just with a little bit more details. Now, from the 1 hour, we can identify those are the sellers that were coming, the buyers, sorry, that were coming, slowing down, slowing down, slowing down. And they try to make one more higher high. You see that? They try to make one more higher high. And what happened to them? They failed completely. The sellers that came here, they came quite strong. They were able now to breach this area here to the downside. So you can see we also have a range and a breach here to the downside, and this breach is coming with a very nice volume. So you can see the story, it's sort of repeating itself from the lower time frame. It's a concept that we call also a clip trade in the iconic trader program. It's part of the top-down analysis. So you're able to identify that from the daily, I have a range and I have a breach. From the 1 hour, I also have a range and I have a breach. Interesting, huh? And this range and this breach that I have here to the downside, it's based on the story that I know they're from the daily. You see how everything fits? It's like we have a puzzle and you can put all of the pieces there together and you start to look the bigger picture of that puzzle. That's euro dollar right now. So now that I see that we have a breach here to the downside after buyers were coming and they were slowing down, failing to make a new high. We see the sellers there coming quite strong. Now, I want you to pay attention, very good attention to this here. Remember when I told you that on that same day, we're going to have CAD interest rate news? We had CAD interest rate news coming exactly between those two candles here. So it was around 10:45 my time. So it was around those prices there. And the interesting part is that when the news came, it was still buyers' turn. When we had the buyers, they're coming, the buyers, they're coming, the buyers, they're coming. They were definitely slowing down. They were still able to make a slight higher high. They were able to make a slight higher high. Sellers took it very aggressive down. But the buyers here from the left side, they never said, I tried to make a new high and I failed. To be honest, when I look at this and I see the buyers, they're still holding prices up there. When I have the sellers, they're coming quite strong. I'm getting more and more interested. That's true. But this guy here, he was able to make a slight higher high. And I don't see until this point, the moment when they said, I am completely done. So when the news, the CAD interest rate news came out, it was the last chance for the buyers to try one more time. So for me, when I saw that CAD interest rate news was coming out, I didn't believe they would go directly and cross this area because buyers, they have never said, I am completely done. Basically, I need to find a lower high to identify that they have tried and they have completely failed. Here, I can see that they are dying. They're really slow. They're slow, very slow. And I see that the sellers are like almost killing the buyers, but I don't see the buyers completely dead. I only know they're completely dead when I see them trying and looking so weak like this and not able to make a new high. That's when I know, okay, the buyers are done. The buyers now are done and everything that I do should be to the sell side. Given that we have a daily demand, we have 4 hours buyers trying and slowing down. They're not dead at this point, but they're definitely struggling. From the 1 hour, I can identify that we have the sellers. They're looking quite interested from a SNR area. And I can see that during news, CAD interest rate news, the buyers tried one more time and they failed. This is the moment when there are news coming from the buy side. This is the moment when the buyers have an opportunity to try again and they have news with volatility to get them to do this other buy. If they want still to do it, that's their turn. This is the moment. Do now or just like die forever. So when news, CAD interest rate news came out at this point and I saw that they were not able to make another new high, that's when I know dollar interest rate news, which is going to happen about 5 hours later. This is the one that is going to take to the sell side. So now that I identify sellers came quite strong like this, buyers tried here from the 1 hour and I can identify they're completely dead. That's when I go to the 15 minutes, and from the 15 minutes, that's when I look for an entry. I can identify from the daily that I have a demand. Let's recap that. Daily demand, 4 hours pullback slowing down around the level. 1 hour is telling me that we have sellers showing quite a lot of interest, and I have news with the opposite party trying, failing, and I have later US dollar interest rate news come out. Everything, all of this still belongs to that same second point, the second tip that I gave you. You need to have a why behind the trade. And all of this is the why behind the trade. By the way, this analysis that we're doing right now, it's the kind of analysis that we do very deep when we discuss with the students from the elite community. And before we go into the details of how I enter this trade and to offer you the third tip or the first suggestion, whenever you're looking to trade high impact news, let me show you very quickly this post that I share with the students on this day. So here is the elite community, and let me scroll down to exactly that day when it was March the 18th, to show you when I was observing here, this one. So March 18th, that was the one that I was observing on that day. I had in mind New Zealand dollar or Euro dollar to sell. If you take a look at both, you're going to see that both of them actually did perform. And I was expecting a spike to come either for CAD interest rate news or for the dollar interest rate news. And if I click here, you're going to see I was expecting to get something like this happening, which means I'm going to have another attempt here from the buy side telling me that they're failing completely. I'm going to have an attempt here showing me that they are failing completely. That's when I'm going to be looking to get a trade. And this information here I shared with the students before New York session even has opened, or before the news they have been released. So you see quite powerful, or how powerful it is to be part of the elite community and to get all of this information here prior to everything to happen. Let me go back to... So now let me talk about the third tip, which is close to how would you get to enter this trade. You see, this is not the most important part because the entry is the last part that we talk about. If you don't have especially the second one, and the first and the second one, if you don't understand what kind of market conditions you're trading, which means high impact news, high volatility, look for higher time frame trades. And if you don't have this one very solid on your analysis, which means the why behind this trade, the third one, which we're going to be talking about now, this one is going to fail. I'm sorry to let you know that, but make sure that you focus on this two. And this one here is just going to happen nicely as a consequence. So as the entry, my third tip would be do not trade exactly when news are released. The moment when news are released, that exact moment, we know volatility is high. There are risks for spikes, and the spreads are also very high. For this reason, wait, this is something that I personally like to do, wait at least 15 minutes after the news came out. At least 15 minutes. Things slow down a little bit after that. The spreads go back to normal. If any spike had to come, the spike came already. So this is something that I personally like to do because the market is going to be more quiet at that moment and the spreads, they're going to come back to normal. And if any spike came, if there was any opportunity for a spike to come, the spike had already happened. So the news came out exactly around this time, this candle right there. The news came exactly around this time, and I can see that they spike a little bit the area, which is fine, and the sellers, they continue to show interest there. Okay, after this candle came, I'm going to enter the next one and put my stop loss here just to be safe. If anything happens against me, because from everything that we have read until this point, if news come out and news are not able to take it further, that means something is wrong. And I might have to scratch the trade. But based on all of the analysis that we have done, they should be able to take it further. So after this candle here formed, that's when I took my trade. And remember, 50 minutes, it's only to take the trade, but I do not continue to observe the 15 minutes in order to understand where I should close my trade or to get more information of where to take my profit. All of this comes actually from the trading time frame. which is the second time frame that we're observing, the one that we saw the details from the pullback. So big bar time frame is where I can identify the demand. Trading time frame is where I can identify the pullback. That's the main time frame that I do most of my analysis, those two actually. And all the other time frames that I add, third time frame, fourth time frame, they are simply just to get a more precise entry. But most of my job needs to be done on those two time frames. And as I took the trade here on the 15 minutes, I went back there to the 4 hours, which is my trading time frame, to identify when I should be looking to exit my trade. Because I can see here that from the 4 hours, this guy, this guy here, he's not completely done. He was the last guy from the 4 hours who was responsible to make this slight higher high. And if he was able to make this slight higher high at this point here, I'm not sure that he's completely done. We saw from the 1 hour that the buyers here, they have tried and they have failed. But the guys here from the 4 hours who were able to make this slight higher high, I'm not quite sure they are done at this point. So that's why I decided to close my trade as soon as we got those prices there, which was around this guy here who started this move to the upside. And this is how you can take a trade based on high impact news. First, remember, you need to have a story from a higher time frame. If you do not have a story from a higher time frame, my suggestion is wait first for the news to come out to show you maybe that they are interested to do a buy. Then you can look for a pullback to do a buy later. So if you're not able to find a story here from the higher time frame, look first after the news come out if they're going to show you a direction. Then we can look for a trade later on a lower time frame. Second, have a why behind your trade. The analysis, this part, needs to be rock solid. Solidify this knowledge, the foundation, all of this information on the courses from Urban Forex. And last but not least, do not trade exactly around the moment when news is released. It can be risky. Better to wait for the news to come out, wait around 50 minutes for the news to come out, wait for things to settle down, spreads to go down, then you can look for an entry. By the way, you might have noticed that I have my ATR indicator showing right here on the upside of my charts. This indicator that Urban Forex has recently released, and it shows us the activity that we have coming from that pair specifically. So for example, here I can identify from a daily basis, this is as much as this trade or this pair is able to move. So on a daily basis, I can see that the average true range, which means ATR, the average true range goes about 84 pips. But on this day, I can see that price has moved a bit more, way more than that. So it shows me that we have a lot of activity coming from that pair specifically. Now let me just show the replay option here, the select bar, to see how much this pair has moved before the news came out right there. So right there you can see that this pair, it's quite active. We can identify on this day before I took the trade, the pair has moved already around 98% of how much is used to move on a daily basis. Pay attention, this was before New York had opened. We had Asia session, we had London session, and from those two sessions, this pair had already moved 98%. What does it mean? It means that we have a lot of activity coming from that pair. That means the big investors, they are also putting their attention on this pair. And this is something very important for us when we want to identify that we have the big investors watching this pair that we are also observing. And the ATR can be quite helpful for that. If you want to get access to this ATR indicator, just type in a comment section, I want it, and we're going to show you how to get it. And this is how you can safely trade high impact news. I hope you like this video and I hope that you're able to learn from it. We have actually at the end of this month, we also have dollar interest rate news come out. Maybe there will be an opportunity there. There will be also other interest rate news coming before that. So maybe we're going to get opportunity coming there. And if you want to join us at Urban Forex and learn everything that we have discussed here, just type in a comment or just reach out to us at info@urbanforex.com. See you in the next video. Bye bye.